The tea has gone cold at your elbow. You meant to drink it. You made it the way you always do, carried it to the table, set it down within reach, and then you just didn't. Not because you decided against it, because at no point did your body lean forward and ask. The thirst never came. The cup sat there cooling while you looked at your screen. And now the surface has that thin, dulled skin on top, and you notice it the way you notice weather through a window, from a distance, without much to say. You'd call this calm if anyone asked. You'd say you're fine, and you'd half believe it. Because that's the thing no one warned you about. Numbness doesn't announce itself. It doesn't arrive as sadness with wet eyes and a reason. It arrives as smoothness, as a day that passes without snagging on anything. You get up, you move through the hours, you answer the messages, and nothing lands. Not hard, not soft, nothing. And a life where nothing lands looks, from the outside, remarkably like a life that's going well. So no one worries, least of all you. You used to cry at songs. There was a version of you that could be undone by 3 chords and a voice in a car. And somewhere along the way, that stopped, and you didn't hold a funeral for it. You just noticed one day that the song played and you heard it and your chest stayed flat as a table. Here is what I think happened, and I want to say it gently because I don't think you've had the words. This was never you feeling less. This was you feeling everything all at once for longer than a body is built to hold. And a body that is asked to feel too much for too long does a quiet, merciful thing. It reaches up and turns the volume down, not off, down, low enough that you can keep standing, low enough that you can keep going to work, keep making the tea, keep saying fine and meaning something close enough to it. The flatness you've been calling coldness was never coldness. It was a mercy. It was the sound of a system that stopped asking you to feel because feeling had become the thing that might have brought you to your knees. But mercy has a cost, and you've been paying it without reading the bill. Because the volume knob doesn't only turn down the hard things, it can't. It isn't precise like that. When you muted the grief, you muted the delight in the same motion. The channel that carried the ache also carried the laughter, and now both come through faint. You don't cry, but you also don't laugh from the chest anymore. You smile, you make the sounds, but that helpless, full body laugh, the one that used to leave you breathless, you can't remember the last time it took you by surprise. You turned down the bad. The good was standing right beside it, and it went quiet too. That's the part that should undo you, if anything still could. Not the sadness you lost, the joy you traded for the truce. And it happened so slowly you'd never be able to point to the day. There wasn't one blow. There was a Tuesday and then another Tuesday, one small thing set down on top of the last. A worry, a loss, a thing you handled so no one else would have to. You carried it, and then you carried the next, and you never put any of it down because there was never a safe place to. So holding became the only posture you knew. You forgot your arms were even full. You just started calling the ache in your shoulders, who I am. You did it alone. That's the quiet center of all of it. You carried it alone. So long that being alone with it stopped feeling like a thing that was happening to you and started feeling like the weather. And the cruelest part hides inside the calm. There are people in the room with you, right now maybe. People who love you and are watching you nod along from somewhere far off, somewhere behind glass. They say your name and you answer, and the answer is warm enough, and still they can feel it. That they're talking to you through a wall you didn't mean to build. You're not gone. You're just turned down. And the ones who reach for you keep finding the volume low. And they don't know it's mercy. They think it might be them. You'd tell them it isn't, if you could feel the urgency to. That's the trap. The numbness even mutes your reasons to come back. But I want you to hear the real shape of it because I think you've had it backwards for years. The numbness was never you not caring. It was the opposite. It was you caring so much for so long, so quietly, and so alone, that you ran clean out of a way to show it. The flatness is not the absence of a heart. It's the fingerprint of one that was never allowed to rest. You didn't stop feeling because you stopped loving. You stopped feeling because you loved without pause, without help, without end, until the only way left to survive it was to go still. That's not brokenness. That's a body keeping its promise to keep you here. The tea is still there, still cold. You never did drink it. But look, you reach for it now, not to sip it. You wrap both hands around the cup, the whole cold curve of it against your palms, and you let yourself feel the one small, true thing available to you in this moment. That it's cold, that the warmth is gone, that you can tell. And that's it. That's the whole beginning. Not a flood, not a breakthrough, just cold porcelain in two hands, and someone slowly, quietly turning the volume back up by a single notch, coming, at last, back into the room.